Hello, and thank you for joining us for Pumps and Politics. My name is Harriet Wallace. This week, there's much more for us to talk about. We do have a lot of topics for you to discuss. First up, we're talking about hashtag #MeToo. That is a big discussion that is coming up as we're talking about a lot of the conversation related to sexual harassment in the workplace. Before we even get to that, let's go over to the desk where we have Lainey Brown. She is a mother, community and campaign organizer. And we have with us also again, Melissa Smithson. She is not a stranger to politics, having run her own campaign. She too is vested in the community and is well known as a political organizer. So again, let's get into those hot topics. Again, we're talking about the hashtag #MeToo movement to help sexual assault victims. Now, this was created in response to the sexual harassment claims against Hollywood executive Harvey Weinstein. Now, Nashville's own power publicist Kurt Webster is being put in the spotlight with sexual assault allegations of his own. So again, this has really taken social media by storm. So I want to kick it out to you ladies. First, your thoughts about the sexual harassment. Is this changing the way things will be done or may be done in the workplace? Is it having an impact?
I actually think that it is having an impact because I think now there's power in community, and there are a lot of people now who were afraid to speak up before who are now, they feel empowered and enabled to speak up. And I think one of the things that we need to also talk about is that the Me Too hashtag was started by an African-American woman 10 years ago in response and was recently picked up by, I believe, Alyssa Milano when she started tweeting about it. And so this is empowering women to be, women and men, because there are men who have been sexually harassed as well, to speak out without retribution.
So, Melissa, let me ask you, because we saw the fallout from this. I mean, you know, Kurt Webster is out there. The company is split. A lot of artists are leaving or have left that company. Do you think that it's fair? Because right now there's been no criminal charge, none of that. Is it too soon, too fast for that response?
Well, you know, everybody has their right to respond accordingly to whatever they want to. You know, sexual harassment in any kind, any form is not tolerable. I don't care who you are. If you're even the president, you know. So I think if the allegations are there, they definitely need to be investigated and something needs to be done. So I don't think that it's too soon.
Seems to me the people that are splitting from him know something, and they know something deep down inside.
It happened kind of fast,
really quickly. And those people, he got out, and they changed the name of the company. The people that were, using his company as for public relations, they have divested themselves. So it seems like there's always been, kind of like with Harvey Weinstein, there's this underlying current of people knowing that this is happening, and they're allowing it to happen. But now the dam has been broken. People are speaking, and it's kind of interesting how everybody's like, oh yeah, we knew that this was happening. I mean, Harvey Weinstein, the guy from House of Cards.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey, yes. Love that show, by the way.
Yeah, well, not anymore, because
because it's not anymore.
It's not anymore. Well, they'll have the 6th season, and that's it. But there's like a lot of things coming out about him. Even the elder Bush president. Patting behinds and saying different things. And so, I mean, it's just...
Because the question that came to mind when we heard about that, does this now open the floodgate for anyone to make any allegation? Now, let me be clear. Touching of any way in any way that is not welcome is not right. It's not right. It doesn't matter what anybody does. It's not right. If you don't get permission, you shouldn't be doing it. But we saw with the former President Bush, first Bush, there was an allegation when they're taking a picture that he sexually assaulted her. We don't know what happened. Hopefully everything is being handled appropriately with that. Is there a concern maybe that this will open for maybe false allegations? Do we worry about that? Is that a concern?
I
because it's real.
Yeah, it is real. I think there is, define sexual harassment. In the case of President Bush, and I wasn't there, I haven't seen the thing, but think of his mindset. He's an older guy, and he might not have seen it. I don't know. There's that, and then there's outright the things that Weinstein has done. And Hollywood knew about it, and they turned.
And didn't say anything.
And that's the problem. The problem is that it was an unknown thing that was going on. I think, just like what you said, any touching or violating my personal space is unacceptable. And
Must have permission.
and so now I think we're in a space now where people will ask permission and people will think before they do.
Let's hope so. Well, let me toss to this one very quickly. Speaking of let's think before we do, that's really kind of the premise of this next topic here. Metro Police are testing body cameras. Should something like this be allowed? Will something like this make a difference or improve maybe the relationship between the police department and the African American community? Will it work?
It's a huge investment for the city and stuff, and we're seeing more and more where it's not really changing the behaviors of police, and unfortunately, and then citizens too. So
Because body cameras is not a new concept for police.
No, I mean, dash cams has been around, like we're getting a little more details than what we have, and I think there's some guidelines and making sure that everybody's protected in using them, the police officer and stuff. So the jury's a little bit out on that, but it is a huge investment. Some places do have issues with their police. I think Nashville has a great relationship with the police officers. They're very involved in the community, and I know this firsthand. There is some work to be done, though, and I do agree that. So we'll see how it is. And I'm not sure. I think the rollout is coming out soon for a beta, so we'll see how that goes.
One of the questions is who controls when the body cams are turned on and turned off? What happens when a police officer is dealing with an informant? Does his body cam go off? Does it go on? And then something happens and he's called into a situation and the body cam is still off. We've got tons and tons and tons of videotape of police officers acting inappropriate and recklessly, and yet there's still no convictions. So will it help? Will it make people more accountable for their actions? Who's to say?
But let's go ahead and put it on the table, though, because we do have the recent situation with Jacquees Clemens, who was shot and killed by Officer Lippert. If there was, now we did have cameras from the MDHA, right? The MDHA cameras that caught pretty much a bulk of that incident.
Right.
If there were body cameras in place, do you think it would have made a difference? Would it have helped anything, hurt anything?
I kind of feel like body cameras need also audio tape. I think that audio is also very important because what you see and what I see can be totally two different things until we hear the confrontation and what happens between the two parties that are involved.
And things that lead up to it too. We don't know what happens to a certain point and then it escalates, and if they turn it on then, we don't know everything from the beginning, and that could be a total game changer too.
Sure.
So
now, speaking of game changer, House Republicans have finally put out their tax plan. All right, here we go. Now, they say it's a plan for the people, but Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander has come out saying Tennesseans will have the highest subsidies across the country. Now he's working on a bipartisan bill that will bring more options, so he says, for health care to the state. Ladies, is it enough? Is it not enough? Will it work? Deep breath. Take it in.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to let you take this one, and
Melissa, your thoughts, because this has been a big push from the Republican side, right? We're talking about the repeal. We just can't seem to get it off the ground, right? First, let's start. Senator Lamar Alexander's plan here, does it have enough meat to it? Does it have enough bite? Will it live, do you think?
I'm not real sure. The tax code is so complicated. I mean, I agree we need to have a simpler plan. I agree that, we need to talk about our tax code and being pro-growth. It's got to be simple for the people, and it has to be fair for all the people, and it has to be fair for the economy of Tennessee and of the nation. I don't know a whole lot about what Alexander says, I'll admit that. But,
there's so many conversations happening. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, even an accountant could not figure this code out.
I know one of the things that was in the GOP tax plan was the elimination of the adoption tax, the adoption tax break.
Yes.
Well, if you're pro-choice, you're pro-life, people adopt, you're taking $13,500 away from these people when a private adoption can cost up to $40,000. So how does that work? Why is that right? Why is
The
that
question
okay?
is, how will this ever work? Because we can't seem to get any type of agreement, whether it be within the Republican Party or across party lines. But anyway, speaking of wrapping things up and coming to an agreement here, that wraps up our Hot Topics, brought to you by our partners here, Freeman Webb Associates. Still ahead on Pumps and Politics, here a player's perspective on the Take a Knee controversy. We'll be right back. Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Pumps and Politics. We're now taking up a very important topic. A lot of you all have been talking about it. A lot of you all have been watching it play out. We're talking about hashtag Take a Knee or the NFL blackout. I've got a very special guest with me to help me discuss that topic, Albert Haynesworth, former NFL player. Well, not former, because you're always a player in your heart, right?
I guess so, but I can't play the game no more.
Well, yes, you can. Right? Let's think positive, right? Well, anyway, thank you for your contribution to the game. So we've had this discussion. We've been seeing it play out on social media, all across the media, high school fields, college fields, pro fields. Let me first ask you, what are your thoughts about the protest that's happening right now? Is protest even the right word to use for that?
You know, I think it's just bringing light to something that like needs light on it. I agree, but would I protest? I don't know. I mean, I think the best thing they did is kind of get the point across. Now everybody's mad that that they're kneeling. Well, if you want no players to kneel, let's fix the problem. You know, as far as let's make equality. Let's stop having unarmed black men getting shot by police. You know, let's correct that. Let's be stricter on the police, police to police.
Are the players the one to do it, or do you think it will or is having an impact to stop what some are calling unfair treatment by the police? Is this the way to do it? Will it work?
I mean, I hope so. It's a peaceful protest. It's just our right as Americans to protest how we want. We're not violating anything, and I mean, I like it. I like it, and where fans are saying that they're not going to watch the game, thinking we're
that's pretty tough.
Yeah, disrespecting the flag. We're not disrespecting the flag. We're not disrespecting the military. If I was still playing the game, I would kneel too. More than likely, I would kneel too. And I have a cousin that has served right now 18 years in the military. He's a lieutenant colonel, of course, and I mean, he's like a brother to me. I respect him more than anything. I respect from what he's doing for us now. Has put 18 years in. So I'm not disrespecting him at all. I'm trying to put light on unarmed black men getting shot by police.
So let me ask you this, because you're talking about your right to speak, your right to protest. We do have those constitutional rights. The president also has his right to say what he wants. And we've seen him get involved in this discussion, saying that the players who do disrespect the national anthem should be benched, fired. Your thoughts on the president getting involved? Is he making things worse? Is he helping it? Should he even be involved?
One, he shouldn't even be involved. I mean, there are so many things going on. We have this crisis with North Korea. That's a little bit bigger than the NFL. They're talking about nukes and testing and things, and you're worried about what's going on, or worried about what Colin Kaepernick says, and there's just so many other things like the debt and taxes, and I mean there's so much other stuff. Yeah, healthcare that you need to be worried about. You're worried about peaceful protesting. You really need to grow up. At 70 years old, grow up.
Did you notice a change, though, in the protest once he made his statements? Because it seemed like, the players were doing their thing, right? There was talk about it. And then the president chimed in. And it seems like that maybe is when we started, and correct me if I'm wrong, just from your observation, but it seems like that's when we started to see some of the fans really speak out and do their own protest. Do you think he kind of changed the game, or was it already there?
I think him speaking or saying something on it really kind of lost the whole meaning of the kneel. Why are players kneeling?
So you think it's lost now?
Yeah, because now you're locking arms. You got owners, down there on the field locking arms, or even the Titans, team that I played for the longest. didn't come out. Like, what are we protesting? Because Trump said something? Or are we protesting because we're trying to fight for equality? You know what I mean? Like, so I think it all got lost, like, when he started talking.
Would you call Colin Kaepernick the sacrificial lamb or the martyr at this point? Because regardless of what you say where it is now or not, there's a conversation happening. And it started really on this level with him taking a knee. Is he kind of a martyr in this situation, do you think? Was it worth it? Let me ask you that. Because he don't have a job right now. Was it worth it? Would you do it?
I would, because I'm controversial. Like,
Let's not question that. Yes, no.
Like,
Right.
I would. I appreciate, like a player of his caliber, standing up and standing up for us, standing up for young men, getting gunned down by the police. So, I appreciate it. Like, what they're trying to do, yeah, it's not right. With the owners not bringing him in, like, he's better than every single backup in the NFL, every single one, and probably more than a few starting quarterbacks. He's probably in that bottom third of starting quarterbacks. So, yeah, he should definitely have a job, but they want to try to blackball him, and I hope he wins this lawsuit.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on the show. Very, very important discussion. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us on this topic, discussing #Take a Knee. We're going to come back here in just a little bit with more topics to discuss. Hey there, everybody. Time now for a Pumps and Politics tradition. We love it, round robin. We had fun the last time. Didn't we? So you were a newbie to round robin. What'd you think?
I loved it. I like it, man.
Kind of loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
Say what you really want to say, but don't always have the platform to say
That's
it.
right.
All right, so we have a few things to get into. And as I have said before, this is where we put all those quirky headlines in that we cannot get to earlier in the show. So this is how it works. I toss around a topic. These ladies briefly, hopefully, we did pretty good the last time, will give us their first thought about that topic. So here's a big topic. Now, we saw the CMA Awards move through Nashville. Wonderful event. But this is where the controversy is. So originally, CMA officials said that media could not ask those who are coming across the red carpet, the celebrities there, the artists, about gun rights or what happened in Nevada, right? They said we couldn't. Controversy. But then they ended up reversing their decision. So want to know you ladies' thoughts about that. Should the media not be allowed to ask those political questions on the now, think about it. They're celebrities. They've got a platform and a voice. Should the media be allowed or not be allowed to ask those political questions on the red carpet? Big night.
At the end of the day, country music has always been about telling the truth. Regardless of if say, your woman left you and your dog died, it has always been about telling the truth. We are living these truths. Yes, they should be allowed to be asked these questions.
Melissa.
No, and I agree too. Country music is big. It was a very sad situation that happened in Nevada, and it did affect them, and it affects everybody. So if the media wants to ask, I think they should ask it, and I'm glad they did. They overturned that.
All right. Very much. Thank you very much. All right. On to our next hot topic. This is disgusting, but we're going to talk about it. My goodness. A former college freshman is now charged with a hate crime. Let me tell you why. She allegedly tormented her roommate, who she called Jamaican Barbie. Police say the former student confessed to licking her roommate's dining utensils, smearing bodily fluids on her backpack. I'm not going to tell you which ones. Use your imagination. It's gross enough. And she did many more despicable things and put it on social media. Your thoughts about what should happen with, I'm not going to start with you. Melissa, we already pretty much know what you're thinking, but I'm going to give you time to censor that. All right, Melissa, your thoughts, because she was kicked out, I believe it was the University of Hartford. She was kicked out of school. She's got a criminal charge now. If you were the judge, what would your decision be?
I would prosecute her. That's ridiculous. Look, people's feelings are going to get hurt every day. And my understanding is this girl said something and it hurt her feelings. And so she just pulled on this hateful, just discussing things. No human being should do that to another human being. So I hope the judge will hammer down on it and set an example. Like, this is not tolerated. This is not just. This just disgusting.
It's gross.
It's still
It's
gross.
gross.
Ever since I've heard it, it's horrible.
Bothersome. Okay, you're gonna
I'm
jump. I don't even need
here.
to introduce you. Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
One of the things that we didn't talk about was that the victim's throat was closing up. Had she had died, that would have been murder. So this is attempted murder. Throw the book at her. Get out of here.
All right. Well, while we're on that topic, if I can, I'm sorry, my producer, don't be mad at me. One more quick question about that. So much airs on social media. We've seen deaths, we've seen sexual assaults. Now we see this one girl being, as they say, social media bullied. Should social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat step in at some point and regulate this? I'm not sure exactly how you would do it, but should they or should they not?
No, they shouldn't step in and regulate this. That's not their duty. As human beings, we need to learn to regulate ourselves. Everybody wants to be famous for some reason or another. Everybody's doing things for clicks, likes, follows, ads, what have you. You need to be secure and comfortable within yourself to not worry about that stuff.
Melissa?
No, Lainey, I agree with Lainey too. It's amazing where social media has brought a lot of people, and sometimes I think it's the culprit of a lot of the bad things that happen. And I don't think they need to regulate it, and in fact, let it happen, because good citizens will
Report
it, and and the law will be just in doing what it needs to do about it. So I'm the same way. Don't regulate it.
Okay, all right. So the Tennessee House Democrats have voted to support medical marijuana. Ladies, what are your thoughts? Should we be allowed to use medical marijuana or not? Does this complicate the law? Do things get muddy now?
No, absolutely. I think medical marijuana, it's been proven to have a beneficial effect for those who need it. Tennessee is getting left behind. There are plenty of other states that have already regulated this, and they have medical marijuana dispensaries throughout the country. Number one, we're leaving money on the table. Number two, there are people who need this to help them regulate, whether it's their cancer, glaucoma, what have you. It is a plant that can be used for good. We need to jump into the fray.
All right, Melissa, round out the end.
We both agree
You're
on
on the
this.
same page.
I've seen a lot of children who have seizure disorders that benefit from this, and we do need to make sure that we have those regulations in place. Now, California and Colorado are having a little bit of issues. It's a learning experience for Tennessee. Let us go ahead and do medical marijuana. Look at the examples, the successes, and the challenges the other state has, and make sure we have those things in place. It's God's gift to us to help us. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Again, this is our favorite segment. I love Round Robin. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you so much to our partners, Freeman Webb, for their sponsorship. Thank you all again for joining us, and we will have much more on Pumps and Politics every single week. But we want to hear from you first. Take part in this conversation. Let us know your thoughts about what we talked about, what you want us to talk about. You can get in touch with us two ways. Tweet us at pumps_politics. Sorry, there's three ways. Lainey, correct me over here. I'll tell you about the third one here in a second. Tweet us at pumps_politics, or leave your comments on our Facebook page, and we'll be sure to get back with you. And then the third one, go ahead and give it to them, Lainey.
Instagram. We are at pumps_and_politics at Instagram. Come see some of our pictures. We have a lot of fun.
We do have a lot of fun. And you can always email us at info@pumpsandpolitics.com. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next week.